Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Speaking Nerd podcast, the place to talk about all things comics, movies, TV, and video games. And for today is the day before Halloween, so I thought, why not? It'd be fitting to do a Halloween episode. And I brought a very special friend of mine here. And so would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, hello there. My name is Ashton. Yeah, like Xavier said, I mean, both of us are pretty awesome and really, I did not word that right. We are really big Halloween fans. And yeah, no, I'm pretty excited to be on here today. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And today, since it is the day before Halloween, I figured it would be best to talk about something Halloween related. So we're going to talk about the Halloween movies, and so we're just going to go through each movie in order, say what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and then by the end, we'll talk about the future of Halloween. Because we've got a couple of more movies happening down the line, so we'll get to it by the end. But of course, we're starting off with the beginning of the series, the one that kicked off pretty much slasher movies, or made them like mainstream, like put them in the mainstream. I don't know if you want to say that, but that's what I always like. That's what I like to think.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I feel that like the early 80s and the late 70s were very, 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 very big and important time for the development of what we know as horror movies, right?
Yeah.
And some of the most iconic horror movies that have ever been made come from that time period, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like 2 years after this was when we got, the Friday the 13th started, and it just kind of snowballed into a bunch of, copycat slashers, and, some really good ones, some bad ones, and some, in between, fun movies. But, yeah, that's probably a discussion for another time. So,
Yeah.
overall, what do you think about the original Halloween movie?
Well, so from the research that I've done about the movie and just from what I know about it, it was kind of like the I believe it was like his first movie that he ever directed, right? Like John Carpenter. It was like his first ever movie that he ever did. Or I believe it was Donald Pleasance, wasn't it, that
No, it
directed
was
it?
John Carpenter he directed it, but Donald Pleasance he played. Oh God, why can I not remember his Loomis, Dr. Loomis.
That's right. That's right. Because Donald Pleasance, yeah, like Donald Pleasance. I think he really kind of pulled that movie together. Like his character was very, very important.
Yeah, he was, for me, he's one of the better parts of that movie. Uh, I mean, overall, the movie is like really, really good. Like it still holds up remarkably well today. Um,
Oh gosh, yes, does it ever?
yeah, but the one
Uh,
thing that I always like come back to whenever I watch it again is like, it's like, man, like Donald Pleasance really made, like, he was one of the best parts of that movie for me. And
oh, for sure. And for me, like also this movie was probably responsible for Jamie Lee Curtis's acting career. Um,
yeah,
so like John Carpenter, this was kind of, I believe, like he was fresh out of college at this point, like of movie school, and he was like, "Hey, I just want to make a movie." He wasn't expecting much out of it, and so like they got a bunch of leaves. They just went to like basically they just kind of like got a street and a house in California. I believe it was California, and they just like basically made Halloween, but in the middle of like the summer.
yeah,
So you got to really appreciate the amount of you know to the little effort that was what they probably felt was put into it, ended up becoming just this massive, amazing movie. You know, like
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it really is like it's still a remarkable movie, and you know, a staple of Halloween now. Like you
oh yeah,
cannot like when you think of Halloween, you can't think of like you cannot think of this movie. Like it's got to be included in there somewhere. So but I was going to say another favorite part of mine is, you know, the way they, the way they handle Michael Myers, like because they're not really like they call him by name, but like most of the time it's like they call him the Shape, and like the scenes where you see Laurie, looking out the window and seeing him in the street, and then he just kind of like disappears, like, and even by the end when they're like the huge kind of chase and everything, like she hits him hard, but he keeps getting back up, like, it was always interesting to me because like it's like you can't really explain that. The later movies tried to explain that, but uh, it didn't really work out, which we'll talk about soon. But yeah, that was always one of my favorite things, was the mysteriousness to Michael.
well, yeah, and uh, like, and the really awesome thing about kind of where this idea came from was there's always kind of like this subtle fear of babysitter killers, right? Because like I for some reason, like from I believe it was like from the between like this well, it always has been a fear, like the fear of you babysitting someone, the next thing you know, like a serial killer gives you that creepy phone call or breaks through your door, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that was kind of like the general synopsis of what John Carpenter kind of wanted. And actually, I believe they wanted to call the movie not Halloween, but The Babysitter Murders.
Yeah,
And I think that would have been a really cheesy title if they went with it.
yeah. I don't think that would have sold as well uh, nowadays, but. I'm just trying to think about the sequels, like Babysitter Murder Returns.
One of
um,
my sorry to interrupt, but I think like one of the coolest things about this movie was on how they kind of used like a William Shatner mask.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they just took this life cast of like they had a life cast of William Shatner from another movie which I forget the name of. It wasn't Star Trek, but I want to say it was The Devil Lives or something along those lines. Uh, they took this mask, they painted it white, they recolored the hair, and they called it a day. And I still think, with all the movies that have come down later in line, that is still probably one of the better masks. Because if you look at like Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 and 6, and like they got really terrible masks, but that's still probably the best one.
Yeah. Well, also like it really kind of helped with just the general kind of eeriness of the character of Michael Myers. Like one of the most iconic scenes, probably in any horror movie today, is like the scene of him standing in the yard with the linen hanging on the wires, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like that's probably one of the most iconic horror movie scenes probably ever created.
absolutely. Yeah,
And just the brilliance behind that, like, for something so kind of, I guess, like, like I said, the directors were probably thinking, I'm like, oh, this is just going to be like, we're maybe make a couple $1,000s off of this, probably, they weren't expecting much out of it. And so they're just like, oh, we're just going to do this and that and this and that. And it ended up becoming like, just, yeah.
mhm. So what would you say for final thoughts? Because I mean, like I said, it's pretty much a staple of Halloween. And if you haven't watched it, be sure to on Halloween night. Just turn off all the lights in your house, lock the doors, just have the TV on, watch the movie. Like, it's a great time.
Oh yeah. Closing remarks for this movie, man. You know, it's it's still like one thing I will say is like this movie was made in 1978 when like slasher movies, like I said, were a big thing, and each and every one of them are kind of cheesy in their own ways. But this one was just different, and I know people that watched this movie when they were like 18, and just on how even today like they still get terrified of it, and
Yeah.
it's just one of those movies that just unsettles you. So
Hmm.
in general, yeah, like you said, it's probably one of the best Halloween movies, and it's meant to be watched on October the 31st.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. So Halloween was a big success. And when big successes happen, obviously sequels are pretty much a necessity, or just they're gonna happen. So or not 2 years later, 1981, we got a sequel to Halloween titled Halloween 2, and I'd still say it's good, but not as good as it can never, top the first movie. But it does have some redeeming qualities and in its own right. And the thing that I remember most about this movie in particular was uh, the establishment of the biological relationship between Laurie and Michael, which apparently was just kind of thrown in there, and John Carpenter really didn't think about that. So
well, yeah, and I mean, it's kind of interesting in how like the movie literally picks up right from when Michael was shot and he fell to the ground outside of his house in Haddonfield, and it's just I found that kind of fascinating because a lot of movies don't do that today. Like a lot of horror movies that create sequels will kind of like it'll start off kind of with like a different character, and then they'll slowly either learn about you know the previous events. Like it's kind of like like a blast in the past type thing. But this was like right from the minute he got shot up until like the end of the movie, right? So it was I found that actually kind of interesting, and I actually really kind of liked on how they just jumped right into it. They didn't waste any time. They just went, here's the movie.
yeah, yeah, and just right there, like just throw it in there, and yeah, yeah, I like that too, where it's just like literally the second the movie starts, it's just the very end of the first movie, and it transitions really well into the story of the second um, movie. I didn't ask for the first movie, but what would you say is your favorite kills for the first movie and for this one?
Second movie would have to be probably the kill scene. For the second movie, it would have to be the kill scene in the hot tub.
Oh, that's my favorite too.
um, and then the first one, it would have to be when he kills that boyfriend, where like he sticks the butcher's knife like right through his chest
Yeah,
and makes him hang there like a piece of meat. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. I was gonna say that too. But yeah. So Halloween 2, like I said, takes place right after the first one, and the whole movie is set in a hospital, and I it's an interesting setting, but I find that a lot of the stuff that happens in there just, you know, because there isn't a whole lot that happens. Like, especially with Laurie's case, she's basically bedridden for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Uh, and then,
I kind of felt some really serious Friday the 13th vibes when watching the second Halloween. And to be honest with you, like I wasn't a big fan of some of the kill scenes in this movie. Like I remember, it's been a few years since I've seen the second one. I watched the first one like annually. I watch it every year,
Yeah.
but the second, I just remember like having like some serious Friday the 13th vibes, and it's just being like a kill fest. And I was like, what the heck? No, like no, this isn't no. And actually, like a cool fact, this was it was actually filmed in a hospital called Morningside Hospital in South Harvard, Los Angeles.
Hmm.
Um, and it was actually like recently closed, and actually it's been torn down since. But yeah, I thought that was like really interesting. So, and I had no idea Nick Castle played the original Michael Myers. I thought it was someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick Castle, he did. Yeah, he did the first. He did the first movie. He wasn't in the second movie. They got somebody else, and
That's
uh,
right.
he was in the latest Halloween. For he didn't play Michael officially, but he was in a scene um, uh, where like she looks up in the window and she sees him in the mirror. That's
Yeah.
that's apparently where like he got to play Michael again, which it's a nice little detail, so or a little fact. But um I was gonna say that like I can see what you mean about it having some like Friday elements, because like one thing that one of the kills that I remember where it's it's her, like Lauren Loomis are in the hallway, some guard or something comes in nowhere, like Michael's right behind him, he stabs him in the back and is just holding him up by like a scalpel or something, like just this tiny little knife is just like, huh, like, huh, what?
And actually, like a fun little fact, the security guard was watching um, Night of the Living Dead. That was the movie that was playing on his TV.
Yeah, yeah. But honestly, I don't really have much else to say like about the second movie. Like, it's a fine movie. It's a good time. Like, and it has some good elements. You know, all the major characters from the first movie are back, and they have some good moments sprinkled throughout. But overall, I'd just say it's fine. But what do you think about Halloween 2?
My finishing thoughts on Halloween 2. I think I think this is honestly where the series should have just ended. Um, that's my I don't get me wrong. I love Halloween. I love Michael Myers. I love the whole idea, but they didn't need the Curse of Michael Myers, Revenge of Michael Myers, Return of Michael Myers, Resurrection. 20 years later, they didn't need any of those movies. They just didn't. I'm not even going to talk about Season of the Witch. Like,
No.
no,
Oh
I have
boy.
not seen it actually. That's because I figure I'm like I may as well throw that out there because I have actually not seen the third movie. Excuse me.
The third movie.
So, but yeah, but the finishing thoughts on Halloween 2. You know what? Like, I honestly feel like I said, it should have been finished like right then and there. But like I said, it was like the era of slasher movies. So every killer like would either get blown up or something, but they would still somehow miraculously come back to life.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to Halloween 3.
Oh
um.
gosh.
So so after the second movie came out, it was originally what they were going to do with the franchise was make it an anthology series. So each movie, like they weren't going to do Michael again. From the third movie on, they were going to tell new stories, and I mean you can definitely see that with Halloween 3 with the plot, a very weird plot, and it's involving the masks and some weird rituals and just like it is a very strange movie, and I feel like it's honestly better to watch it now than it was back then. Because, back then, like, everybody's like, "Where's Michael?" I was like, I thought it was going to be another Michael movie, but like, no. Like, but honestly, I think it's a fun time, and it, I think it's good for a watch, just out of morbid curiosity. But I mean, especially for those the scene that is probably most remembered in my head was the first kill with those masks, because what happens is they play this program on TV, a jingle, and I guess the music has some effect with the masks. I forget exactly what it is, but basically, like, the mask like morphs into this kid's head and basically like crushes his skull, and it is like he has like pumpkin seeds and stuff growing out of his like face, like he's just, like, it is a strange movie. And but I'd still say watch it. But anyway, Halloween 4. um so because Halloween 3 failed and everybody wondered where the fuck was Michael, they decided to do another one with him, even though, I mean, when you really think about it, they couldn't do another one because, at the end, they just blow Michael up. Like, he's a burning corpse at the end at the end of the second one. But they still made it anyway. And actually, you know what? Halloween 4, I would say that it's it's I like it just as much as Halloween 2. It's got some really good things going for it, but I would say after this is where, the series really like nosedived into being terrible. But
Oh gosh, yeah, you can say that again. And also like the masks, like really started taking a hit too. Like the changing of the style of the masks for Michael Myers, like really started taking a big nosedive as
yeah,
well.
and I would say like this is one of the worst ones. Like this and Halloween 5 are definitely like the absolute worst masks in the entire series. But
Yeah, yeah, totally.
what do you think of Halloween 4? Um,
Um, Honestly, so um, sorry, I'm actually kind of just reading as we go because it's been a long time since I've seen most of these movies. If I'm being honest with you, I should probably watch them again.
mhm.
Um, so I guess like my now that I've like so like the fourth one, um, you know, I thought it was actually a cool idea. I'm not gonna lie, like I thought the story was a little different, and I thought it was kind of cool. And I know a lot of people like definitely will disagree with that because they're like, well, what was the importance of like the little girl, right? And I don't know.
Yeah,
It's I have pretty mixed feelings about it.
yeah. I mean, like I like Jamie. Like, I like the main character who is Laurie's daughter. So there is a blood link to Michael. So um, I like her. Like, I like the main characters. I think the worst thing for me about this is Michael himself, because he's not really intimidating this time. Like, because
No, yeah,
he's got the really awful mask, and because the actor, like, he wasn't big enough to do the part. Like, he's literally wearing like football pads underneath the boiler suit, so it just kind of breaks the immersion immensely when you're watching it and knowing that. So but yeah.
what's your most favorite kill scene? That's a tough one, right?
I can't really remember off the top of my head. um I can't remember if it's in this movie or the one after this, where he he literally stabs a girl with a shotgun.
Oh yeah, I think that's number. I want to say 6.
Yeah.
This
Um,
is it in a barn?
I don't think it was in a barn, but it was like it was.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. It's the 4th one. Sorry,
Was
I'm
it
looking at.
okay? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's it right there. Um, and I also want to say like the ending, like it was a really interesting cliffhanger where they took with that ending and then they just completely forgot about it the next movie. So, um, but yeah, what happens at the end of Halloween 4 is they set up Jamie as the killer, and they do it in a way where it's basically like a homage to the first Halloween when you see young kid Michael for the first time, and then they just immediately the next movie they're just like it was all a dream or something like that. Um, but yeah, final thoughts. I like Halloween 4. Um, I would say it's a little below Halloween 2 for me, but it's still a fun time, and it's got some interesting kills, and I like the main characters, and story is just kind of it's there, but nothing really spectacular. But what do you think of Halloween 4?
So Halloween 4 was actually, like I said, I actually didn't hate it, but I also, it's one of those ones that I probably wouldn't watch again. Um, However, I really do like the nod that Family Guy has made to this movie, with like Tom Tucker, being Michael Myers.
Oh yeah,
Hi, I'm Tom Tucker. I'm your psychopathic, I'm your psychopathic cousin that wants to kill you.
yeah, yeah. That is pretty good. Um. Anyway, Halloween 5,
Oh, Revenge
which
of Michael Myers.
oh my god, this is one of the most boring. Like this, I would say this is the most boring Halloween movie on this list. Um. Uh. But there is one interesting thing I want to say they do with it, which is the the telepathic link between Jamie and Michael, which they don't really do much with. But I mean, there's not really much to talk about for me, honestly. So I'm going to say overall a boring movie.
Yeah, really though, like it could have been better in many, many ways. Um, Now, was this the movie where like Michael kills that guy using like that electrical circuit or something like that? Like it throws him onto like a transformer.
I think that's Halloween 6.
Dang it!
If there's one kill that I if there's one kill I want to say I remember from Halloween 5 was uh he's using like this farm tool that like it's supposed to like move hay or whatever, and he like literally just stabs like 2 people with it.
Yeah,
I forget the name of it, but
it's like a sickle, I think.
yeah, something like that. um but yeah, um I don't think there's really much else we can say about Halloween 5, so let's move on to Halloween 6, which is just terrible. Like
Oh
it's
God.
just awful.
Yeah. Well, like I mean, like you said, after the 4th one, this series really took a big nosedive.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely took that nosedive, and it's most apparent here because if you're not in the loop, there's literally 2 cuts of this movie.
Oh
uh,
God.
there's a theatrical cut, which is just kind of hobbled together, and uh, a lot of flashy lights and all this other shit. And then you got a producer's cut, which delves more into why Michael is a serial killer or why he does what he does, and it's dumb.
It's because it was like something like the curse of Thorn or whatever, right? Like the
Yeah,
reason why. He killed all of his family because he was
Cult
like,
of the
yeah.
Thorn, and it is just so fucking ridiculous that you don't even want to mention.
Best kill scene out of this was probably the beginning of the movie, where he kills that chick for the baby.
Yeah, yeah, he kills Jamie. Like they because this movie, like, they jump cut a certain amount of years, and Jamie has a kid, which they don't really explain to you in the theatrical why, but in the producer's cut they say that it's like Michael's kid. So
Really?
incest.
Question mark.
Oh my god. Um, yeah, just Halloween 6 in general. Both cuts are just bad. But if there's one thing to take away from this movie is that we got Paul Rudd. So uh take what you will from that.
Did he
But
really
yeah,
play
this
it?
is one of, I want to say this is his first, like, one of his first major roles.
That's kind of like Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, yeah. And Kevin Bacon in the first Friday the 13th movie.
That's right. Oh man. So what's your kind of like your finishing thoughts, I guess, on the curse of Michael Myers?
Just awful. Just
Just awful.
awful. Like,
Yeah.
it's an awful time. Don't bother uh, with anything related to this movie. Like, don't watch the theatrical. Don't watch the producer's cut. Don't any if it says Halloween 6, don't watch it. But anyway, so the series kind of died. Uh, series died basically the first time. So
Oh yeah.
for the 20th anniversary of the Halloween franchise, they basically decided, let's make another movie with Laurie, and 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 with that we got Halloween H2O, uh, and I'd say this is one of the better ones. Like, it's got some really dumb things in there, but overall, like, actually a really solid movie. What do you think of H2O?
A waste of a movie, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I mean, and now, mind you, I'm comparing this to like the recent ones that came out. You know, the ones also done by Rob Zombie. So to be honest with you, I would actually place this one probably way worse than. Well, I haven't seen Season of the Witch, so I can't really rate Season of the Witch, but I will put this, right at the bottom of my list. A
Wow.
favorite.
I was gonna say that for the next movie, but
Right. Yeah.
um, but yeah, favorite kills.
Oh God, your favorite kills out of this? I can't even remember. That's some like insignificant this movie was to me.
I guess the one I remember is when they basically do a homage to Halloween 2, where, like, he sticks some guy in the back and he just kind of lifts him there for a second. But that's really it. Like, but I would say that finale is actually kind of fun because it's just, it's really cheesy, but it's just basically her, like, Laurie just taking Michael head on, and it's kind of
Does it?
fun. But yeah.
Sorry for the spoiler alert for who hasn't seen it. Doesn't she die at the end of it?
No,
I think. Oh right, yeah.
no, she dies at the very beginning of the next movie.
Resurrection.
Yeah. But actually, you know what? Let's move on to that, because you know, Resurrection pretty much takes everything that was good about H2O and just throws it right down the shitter, because it is awful. It is. I would say it's worse than uh, Halloween 6.
Okay. Um, I actually kind of felt it was pretty bad. I'm on your spectrum. Um, Now, like, what is it? Like, Busta Rhymes was in this one.
Yeah, but Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes
Yeah,
basically have this internet show where uh, they have these kids. They all have like webcams and all this other shit, and they're like basically spending the night in the Myers house, and it is just it's stupid. Like it's just a really dumb movie, especially by the end where Michael literally gets killed by Busta Rhymes, and
of course. Of course they had to do that.
oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's however shitty these movies are, it still plays an iconic part of Halloween traditions for thousands and thousands of people. Um,
Yeah.
Probably one of my most favorite kill scenes, to be honest with you, all of them. Just because I just wanted to see a bunch of college kids die.
Yeah, I mean, we all come here to see, but
you know, and the thing is, the crappy thing about horror movies these days, man, is they're so washed out now. Like, there's so many washed out ideas that have already been used, and horror movies can sometimes these days make or break a person's career. And if you do a bad one, bye.
you're done. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Horror, yeah, like it's just the one thing about horror movies that I especially don't like now is that they try way too hard to be in the moment, like be in the time, especially like nowadays. Like, 'cause so many of them, it's like they're on their cell phones and it's all modern and shit. And it's just like you don't care about that. All you want to see is just a bunch of kids get murdered by some guy with a knife. But
Well, yeah, exactly. And I really also don't. I really don't appreciate for how like modern horror movies are trying to be, and um, one of well, sorry, I didn't word that right. What I mean is like they try to be hip and they try to be cool and they try to use technology for horror, and it's like
mhm.
no, 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 no. Like possibly, like I know this is completely irrelevant to Halloween, but like by far the most probably the two of the most best horror movies that have come out in the past 10 years would have to be Conjuring 1 and 2 or Annabelle. Probably just because that they're so original and the scare sequences, the horror sequences in these movies are unrivaled. So I know anyway, that was like a little bit of a tangent off of Halloween, so I do apologize, but
Yeah. But overall, I guess final thoughts for Resurrection. Don't watch it. Like just stay
delete.
like don't
Document.
touch it. Don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Like don't go anywhere near it because it is just a bad time for everybody. And
If you need campfire fuel and you're running out of DVDs and it's between,
just throw it in.
like just throw it in there.
It'll burn
um,
it'll burn real good. But
oh yeah.
anyway, so the franchise died again, and they decided to give Rob Zombie the reins for Halloween. So he basically rebooted everything. He did a reimagining of the first movie, like he did his own take on it, and it's let's just say it's pretty divisive among Halloween fans. But
Well, yeah, it's because like they held Rob Zombie to the same standard of John Carpenter, and it's like Rob Zombie and John Carpenter are two completely different people.
yeah, yeah. I mean they're friends, but like you're not gonna get the same quality as you had back in 1978. Like Rob Zombie's gonna make a Rob Zombie movie, and he certainly did with. And that's basically the best way to describe both Halloween 1 and 2. It's a Rob Zombie movie with Michael Myers mixed in. But what do you think about the first Halloween, the reboot?
I love it.
Okay. um, you see, for me, I'm on the complete opposite of that, where I just think it's bad. But you
Favorite
know,
kill scene in this movie. um, you know, I also really love the choice of Michael Myers for this movie, Tyler Mane.
yeah,
Um, the guy, like he used to wrestle in the WWE, and then he also played Sabretooth in the X-Men.
that's my go-to whenever I think of Tyler Mane. Is like, oh, he was Sabretooth, and that's it.
Yeah, and you know, probably some of the best kill sequences out of the entire movie was probably when he slit his uncle's neck open, like duct tape his mouth shut and just slit it open.
It just duct taped him to his chair, and
Just a general disturbedness and the just gore behind that one scene still makes me sick to my stomach in a way. Like, and then when he beats his sister's boyfriend to death with the aluminum baseball bat, like, oh man. um, and then when he beats that kid in the forest to death, like his school bully with a stick, just imagine how much anger and just how much pure hatred he had for this kid. You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy to kill someone with a stick. Let's be honest. Like, he would have had to hit the kid like at least over 100 times to at least even remotely kill him.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like, just the general disturbedness of this movie is like really awesome.
yeah, I would say like, it's basically that kind of, it's very Rob Zombie, like especially in its
Oh yeah.
kills, because it's very intense, very brutal, and
One of my most favorite lines out of that whole movie is "I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch." Oh man. Uh, yeah, no. And then you know how like almost every single Rob Zombie movie has his wife in it. You know, Sherry Moon Zombie.
yeah, just put her in this one, and like she's just some stripper. Oh
Literally.
my god.
I The guy who played Ronnie, uh, the uncle, I think. Yeah, the guy who did him actually did a really decent job. Actually, like I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably like one of the better parts of that first half, because the first half of this movie is just like all like the origin of Michael Myers, and the second half is it's just Halloween 1 again, but Rob Zombie. So, um, but yeah, that first half, like Ronnie, I want to say is the best part, because even Michael, like, um, I don't really like young Michael much. Like, I find him very annoying and just, you know, not very.
Yeah, no wonder he got bullied.
Yeah,
um, yeah, no, I understand what you're trying to say. It's interesting in how much more we have to say about this movie, isn't
yeah. Then like the last four of them.
it? um, what's your most favorite kind of kill scene of this movie?
um, favorite kill, I would say, uh, in the forest scene where he beats the kid with the stick.
Oh yeah.
But the Ronnie one where he's duct taped to the chair, that's probably a close second. But what would you say is your favorite kill in that movie?
If I were to pick the ones that I named, yeah, same thing for you, where he beat his school bully to death.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like something that, like, I'm pretty sure at least most kids have dreamed about, that are bullied. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, I obviously don't want to beat them to death, but they do want to like defend themselves, and they have dreams like that's probably.
You still want to beat their ass. It's like,
I think it's an emotion that a lot of people could probably relate to. Probably not that extremely, but you know.
yeah. I guess we should just move on to Halloween 2. But
Yeah.
uh but yeah, the Rob Zombie, the first one, was pretty much, it was a success, I want to say. Like, it did pretty well for itself. So they were like, we gotta make another one, and Rob's like, I don't know if I can make another one. And I guess they just pulled up with like a dump truck of money, and he's like, here, now make Halloween 2. And he's like, okay.
Well, I really like the intensity of like the first 5 minutes of the movie. Of like Lori being like stretchered into the hospital, and like they start like she's like screaming and crying and all this stuff because she just like after like this was after her confrontation with Michael, right?
Mm.
And I just loved that whole first 5 minutes, and I don't know why. And actually, I'll probably lead this up to like my first kill if you don't mind. When he kills that nurse and just brutally stabs her to death. Like that black nurse,
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Over and over and over and over. one, one of my favorite bits from that is where like he's done, like he's done stabbing her, like stands up for a second, and then just throws one more in there for the hell of it.
Yeah, that was really awesome. So
Um,
what's your kill scene?
I want to say my favorite is, it's right around, like I want to say it's like one of the first Michael, like one of the first Michael kills after the hospital stuff. Like, they're out in the middle of this field, like he's living somewhere, and these guys pull
Oh,
up in their truck. They start beating his ass, like to get him off the property. He puts the mask on, and on the front of the truck are these like antlers, these deer antlers. Just takes one of the guys and just stabs him right through them. It reminded me a lot of Silent Night, Deadly Night, if you ever watched that movie.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'd say that's basically that, and the nurse at the start of it. That's probably like the one of the better moments. But yeah, after like the first like
Yeah, for
10,
sure. I mean,
I want to say like after the first 10 minutes, like after all the hospital stuff, and it cuts to a year or two later, like the rest of the movie, like everybody's just unbearable. Like even Lori, like he's
yeah.
just an asshole to just everybody. And even Loomis, like he becomes like the most unbearable person. Like he's the worst thing about this movie, like hands down.
Well, for Lori, it's understandable though, because I mean, she just went through like probably one of the most traumatic events of her life. You know what I mean? Like some random dude is just coming after you for what seems like to you for no freaking reason,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and he just hunted you down like an animal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And did like I don't know, like it's understandable for Lori, but yeah, I'm on your side when it comes to Loomis. It was like I don't understand, but I think he was an asshole to begin with, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the first movie, like he was kind of a dick there, but like Halloween 2, like he really just is an asshole. Like the line I remember the most is they're out, him and his assistant are like outside or whatever, and the line that I remember is, um, he says to his assistant, he's like, "If I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you." Like, come on, like what the fuck, Loomis? Just,
I loved his failure of an interview with Weird Al Yankovic.
yeah.
He kind of deserved that.
Yeah, he did. He did. He definitely did. And another
um,
scene I remember is when they're at the book signing and the dad shows up. He's like,
oh,
um,
that
yeah,
was really real world-ish.
yeah. I mean, he probably deserved that too, but
Oh fuck yeah, did he ever?
um, but talking about Michael for a second, because they do some things which are very off-putting. Like one of the things is like the time spent, like when you see him, he's traveling from wherever the hell he is, and he's making his way to Lori, and like he's got this very hobo look, which I don't mind itself, but it's very weird in the daytime when you can just see his face and like there's nothing covering it up. Or but one thing I like about that is that whenever he's ready to kill somebody, he puts the mask on. um and
Yeah.
then the other thing I was going to say was at the very end of the movie, like him and Loomis, like they're somewhere, and right before he stabs Loomis, he speaks, which just why? But what do you think of Michael in this movie?
Well, I don't know. Like in the first movie, it was kind of interesting to see, Rob Zombie's input on like, what Michael's life could have been, you know.
Mhm.
And most of it was actually accurate, and then there's other stuff that was a little wacky. Like Ronnie, But I mean, however, there are scumbags like that exist out there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Probably like one of my more favorite kill scenes with Michael is probably out of that movie is probably the when he kills Annie,
Yeah.
because like he finishes killing her right when Laurie's pulling up to the house after the Halloween party,
Mhm.
and it's like a black screen, and all you can hear is just her screams and like the sounds of like Michael stabbing her. Oh man, that was well done.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention it, but like when it comes to favorite characters, like even in this movie, like this movie especially, my favorite character in this whole movie is Sheriff Brackett. Uh, because he's just generally like a nice guy. Like he is a good father to Annie and Lori, and
He,
then
this guy, the guy that played Sheriff Brackett, he played in 2012, didn't he?
I don't remember if he was in 2012. He would he was he's the voice of Chucky. Like that's what I remember him most as. Um, but yeah, like I he's been in some other movies, and he is a really good actor, and
Oh yeah.
but I mean I like his character a lot in this movie, where he's just a for the most part he's just a very caring father, and he like it for Annie, like it becomes kind of overbearing for her, but I can see why he would do that, and I would probably do the same thing if I were in his shoes. But um yeah, what do you think?
Kind of closing thoughts for this. Honestly, like probably, it was definitely better given. Um, yeah, sure, they're a little more demented and a little more twisted, but hey, you know what? It's better than, some cult. Um, you know, I really do like the, like the, by the way, like Michael could have started killing people because of, environmental reasons. And I really like that because that's very realistic, actually, because, like look at someone like, you know, what's it? Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. His mom was like very, controlling and um, very domineering, and would like sexually belittle him. And so like, you know, it kind of grew into this frustration of to women, right? And so yeah, I don't know, like I found it kind of somewhat realistic, and I just really, really liked it. So
When it comes to closing thoughts for me, I want to say like it's for me, the Rob Zombie movies are definitely better than like Resurrection and especially Curse of Michael Myers. Fuck that movie. Um, but in the case of Halloween 2, to be honest, I kind of find it a little more interesting than the first Rob Zombie movie. Only on the fact that it's like, it's not a straight remake of Halloween 2. Like they do something completely different where you know, it's kind of focusing on the aftermath of the whole night and how it affects people, which it's to me it's an interesting idea, but for me still it has a lot of the same problems that the first Halloween did, especially with its uh very white trash characters and like I mean it's got some creative kills and that kind of stuff, and but overall still not a great movie, but not quite terrible. Like it's for me, my opinion like kind of swayed a bit when it comes to Rob Zombie, like especially the Halloween movies. Like sometimes I think of it one way and sometimes it changes, and but I would say for the most part that I find it a little bit more interesting than the first Rob Zombie Halloween. But
yeah, I think probably other than I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch. I think one of my second most favorite lines is "Hello, Michelle, my belle."
and on that note, let's talk about Halloween 2018. So, uh, the franchise died once more. They couldn't really do much with the Rob Zombie series since basically all the main characters except for Sheriff Brackett were basically dead or maybe dead. Uh, so it was just kind of hard to continue that timeline. So they decided to just, for the 40th anniversary of the Halloween series, they decided to reboot it again. They completely change the timeline again to make it even more confusing. But I mean, they kind of it's confusing for the people that know like Halloween like 4, 5, and 6, and they completely threw that out of the way. They disregard Halloween 2, which for the casual fan, you might be wondering why, but if you look at what John Carpenter thought of the movie, and some of the decisions that he made that were kind of just uh, you know that he didn't really think about, like I mentioned before, like you can see why they did that. So for this new Halloween movie, it's 40 years later. Michael and Laurie are not related anymore, and I gotta say, like this is probably my second favorite Halloween movie. But what do you think?
Yeah, I would say that too. I think it paid a very good homage to the original one.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, when they finally came out and said, by the way, this ignores even the second one that came out in 1981, this is following 40 years later after 78. And so you have like this PTSD stricken Laurie Strode who's like completely paranoid, lives in a booby trapped house and surrounded by guns. And, it's, I found it really fascinating. And then like yeah. So I don't know. I remember sitting in the movie theater opening night watching it, and I was very, very happy with it. I walked out of that theater I felt very redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, for me, like I didn't get the chance to watch it in theaters, but when I did watch it, it was still like there was a lot of really good ideas, especially with Laurie. Like I love what they did with Laurie in this movie. Um, and some other things like Michael is back to being, the mysterious badass that he was in that first movie. Um, you know,
Yep.
they really paid attention to the first movie. They really like took a deep look, because a lot of the elements, like even in Halloween 2, like a lot of that mysteriousness is just kind of gone. Like they do a lot of stuff with the later sequels that are, really ridiculous and, you know, don't really stay true to what the first movie did. But this one does. And even though it's basically a retread, they do a lot of the same things they did in the first movie, like plot wise. Um,
Yep.
I would still say, like, even though they still do that, most of the new elements make it an overall great movie to watch. If there's anything I gotta say that I don't like about it, it is uh, like the German doctor who, at one point, just like you know, becomes a villain for the sake of it. It's just like, haha, Michael. Like, it's like, it's that's the only thing that bugs me about it. But for the rest of it, it's just overall like it's really great stuff, and I can't recommend it enough. Like, if
Oh
you,
yeah.
but what do you think of the movie?
Well, I felt it was a very, very good homage, like I said at the beginning. Um, Very good kill scenes, in my opinion. One of my most favorite kill scenes out of the movie is like when he walks in behind that woman in her window and like stabs her like right through her fucking neck.
Oh yeah,
That was awesome.
I gotta say that's probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. Is the giant like one shot take of it. Uh,
Yes. 'Cause that was totally 1978-ish, wasn't it?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it, like just one of my favorite moments overall. Another one that I really enjoy is when they're at a gas station, like they're in the gas station, the girl's in the bathroom, and then Michael comes in. Um, he like tries to open the door, and then he puts his hand over the stall, and he opens his hand, and a bunch of teeth just drop.
Yes. That was awesome.
That was just great. Like it was so like it was so creepy, but also like really awesome watching it. But also, not only does it cater like to the original movie, but if you're a fan of the later ones, you definitely get your money's worth of that too, because chock full of like just throughout the movie, they're chock full of references to like all the stuff that happens in the other movies. Like one of my favorite nods is the three teenagers are walking down the street and they're talking about Michael, and one of them is like, "I thought Michael was uh, Laurie's brother," and the main girl's like, "No, that's just a myth that people just made up."
I
A lot.
wish you certainly wish it was.
Yeah, I know, a lot of people did, but I really love those kind of tongue-in-cheek references. But yeah, overall, like just final thoughts. I'd just say watch it. Like watch it, especially right after, like when you're done watching the first Halloween movie, jump right to this, and
Yeah, yeah. If you don't want to get confused, yeah, I totally suggest that too.
it definitely has that kind of scare factor that the original movie had, um, and you're definitely in for a good time. So
Yes, sir.
okay, so since this movie did really well, um, we have two more Halloween movies on the horizon that basically just like they're making basically a trilogy of films related to this newest one. So the next one after this is Halloween Kills, and then right afterwards it's Halloween Ends. So what did you think on that announcement? Like when they first.
Well, we definitely we do need a second one because, to be honest with you, I know Michael Myers. I know that wouldn't have been easy to kill him. Um, that I don't know. Well, you know what? Like, I can't. I don't want to like shit on it too hard. My confidence is kind of low if I'm being completely honest with you.
Mhm.
But hey, you know what? You never know. They have another year to work on it because of the darn virus. So yeah.
Yeah. For me, I'm actually kind of excited to see what they do with it. Like, because they do a lot of great stuff in this first, like the in this first one. And one of the things I'd say that I'm most worried about is the quality going down, because
Yeah.
this movie, like this latest Halloween movie we just had, is so great, and I'm really worried that by the time we get around to Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends and stuff, like uh it's just gonna kind of go down, and I'm really hoping that doesn't happen, and hopefully they do some interesting stuff with these next two movies. But um and one final question to you is, when Halloween Ends does come out, how long do you think before they reboot the series again? Because for a fact this series is not gonna fucking end. Like, they're gonna keep bringing it back.
As long as there's money involved in it, right? You know what? I mean, look at Friday the 13th. The last one they made was 2009. It's been almost 10 years. And, you know, I would actually, look at Child's Play. That was a complete shit show. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Mark Hamill did a pretty good job with the voice. But other than that, it was a garbage can of a movie.
Mm.
So I'm a little concerned, would be the word.
Mm. Yeah,
So yeah.
I can definitely, I can feel your concerns, because, I feel like I have a lot of the same ones, but I have faith. I have faith that they're gonna pull it off, and and end on a really satisfying note, and have that almost completely shattered by the time they announce Halloween remake number 6.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, that's pretty much the end of the podcast. Uh, Talking about all these Halloween movies, and just want to say right off the bat that I hope everybody has a good Halloween. Get that candy, and just have it at home. Don't really go outside. Stay safe if you're gonna get anything. But yeah, I want to thank Ashton for joining me on this episode, and it was really fun
Yeah, no.
talking about a franchise that's it definitely holds a place in my heart. But yeah. But if you want to check out Ashton's, or where can I find you on the interwebs?
Um, so actually, I'm probably gonna actually once we finish this up, I'm probably gonna actually go change my name to Melodite 63. It's my paranormal channel where I actually talk about different cases. I'll be uploading a video later this week. Actually, I'm working on a case called the Wolf Pack of Palmyra, and it's I'm not going to explain too much. You have to watch it. So, so yeah, I do have one video out right now. It's my first ever video. So yeah, I would really appreciate it if you guys came and checked me out. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll be sure to put a link in the description down below, and you can Also, if you don't feel like reading the description, there'll be a little button you can click at the end on the video, which will take you right to his channel. So be sure to do that. Give him some subs, watch his videos when they do come out. But anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. We'll see you guys next Friday with another podcast, or I'll be back. I'd love to have Ashton on again for another topic down the line, but thank you all so much for watching, and take care of yourselves. So see you guys.